If you feel broken after a recent breakup, watch this video. In this video, I'm going to share with you very simple principles, very simple ideas that will dramatically change the way you see your situation. And I can guarantee that by the end of the video, you'll feel equipped and more confident in your ability to heal, to ease the pain that you're going through. My job as a relationship counselor is to help people navigate the aftermath of a breakup, and I'll explain my approach in this video. Jingle.
igetmyexback.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
So first of all, a very quick reminder about value. After a breakup, we feel mechanically that our value decreases. Someone is rejecting us. The person we love the most, we trust the most, is rejecting us, is pushing us away. And we feel as if we are losing a game, as if we are losing a battle. The question is, should being in a relationship feel like a battle, feel like a game? If you're in a situation where you feel like my partner, the person I trust the most, is pushing me away, he's trying to win the game, he's trying to diminish my value, ask yourself a question, challenge yourself. Is it really how you want your relationship to be? Now, if you don't relate to this, then the question is, what are the things that should dictate your value? And this is the simple concept you need to remember, is that your self-worth is not linked to your partner. Your self-worth comes from yourself, within yourself. And failing to understand this makes you more, in a way, vulnerable to outside stimuli, to outside circumstances. And that's why right now you feel broken. Because you feel that someone is telling you, by breaking up with you, you're not good enough. That's how you feel, right? Quick mental exercise. Imagine yourself, or picture yourself 6 months from now, 6 months before the breakup. And now yourself 1 day before the breakup, and then yourself 1 day after the breakup. And then yourself now. You are the same person, right? You have, by definition, the same value. But what's going on here? The way you perceive yourself, the way you value yourself has changed dramatically. Perhaps you were way more confident, happier, more fulfilled 6 months before the breakup. And now it's the opposite. When everything is difficult, you feel depressed, you're anxious, but you're the same person, right? So why would you always attach this state of mind with your own qualities, with your own traits? It has nothing to do with that, right? You are not your emotions. Of course, feeling sad after a breakup, that's normal. That's a normal reaction. That's actually a healthy reaction. What I don't want you to do is to see that this is because of your value. This is because you're not good enough. This is the typical framework that I see with my clients who are struggling to deal with breakups. They dumped me or they broke up with me because I'm not good enough, because I'm not lovable, because I'm not worth loving, because I'm not smart, because I'm not pretty, because, you can label all those things. And the idea here that you have right now, and that's probably the thing that is hunting you in your sleep, or that's really in the back of your head, is if I was better, she or he wouldn't have made this decision. That's my fault. Because the things that they're saying, if I was better, if I was more lovable, if I was worth loving, they wouldn't break up with me. And the problem is usually when this affects us is because we feel that it's something that is happening again and again, and that we keep on getting it wrong. And that reinforces this idea that my ex is better off. The problem with this idea, with this mindset, is that you let the outside world dictate your value, who you are. I can't dictate your value, nobody can. You can only. Okay, it's really a question of, it's very suggestibility. It's really about suggestibility and obviously completely subjective. And the idea here is to work on that. Because the way you see yourself right now prevents you from healing, prevents you from finding that confidence. Because a breakup, yes, it's difficult. And of course, after a few weeks, few months, you'll feel better. But let's try to avoid making this process painful and longer than it needs. And I'm going to also another reminder, the breakup, it takes two to break up. Your partner decided to end the relationship, okay, but he or she's not perfect. Relationship can end, okay, that's a matter of fact. Relationship can end. 50% of marriages end. I'm not saying that's a great news, I'm not saying it's a fact. Remember that you don't own anyone. And they don't own you, right? They decided to take that decision. You didn't agree. You feel it's unfair. You perceived it as something really shocking. Perhaps you'll end up together. That's not the point. But it's the idea of being attached to something that you can't control. You cannot control your partner's decisions. You cannot control people's decisions. You can influence them. And when I have people calling me, booking sessions with me and telling me, please help me make him that decision, tell him that I want him to do or she, for her to do this and that. No. The only thing you can control is you. And that's why it's also important to learn about attachment style, and I've done a lot of videos about attachment style. When you realize that actually the reason your ex broke up is nothing to do with you, but it's about their perception of commitment, for example. If they're avoidant, they're scared of commitment, and that something triggered them, and they pushed away, and you pulled them, and you pushed also as well, because you were anxious and you were clingy, and you pushed them away. Let me just introduce a very simple image from Epictetus, the analogy of the dog and the cart. The dog that is attached to a cart with a leash, and you can see this cart as representing the outside world, the outside circumstances, things that he can't control. The cart will move and drive away. The dog has two options, either to fight, to try to go against the cart, or he can trot along. That's the idea of life, in a way. You are just in control of what you can do. The outside world, what people say, what people do, the weather, these are outside of your control. You have to accept that you can't control them. And trying to fight those things is unproductive. And so when you're fighting, when you're trying to be clingy, you're like this little dog trying to hold on that leash, making it even harder for them to breathe in a way. So it's really about how you can let go of this, accept that the cart is moving along. You have no other option, because if you fight, you're gonna, stop breathing because it's gonna strangle you. So you have to trot along, to accept things, circumstances. I'm not saying that necessarily the cart is going the right direction, it's not necessarily, but it's just finding the way to accept this guy, to accept the fact that yes, relationship ends, yes, things could have been different, but now is now. And so I want you to take away a few principles from Stoicism philosophy, is that you need to understand what you can control. And in Stoicism philosophy, there's this very importance about acceptance. Accepting the things, accepting what happens to you, rather than fighting, rather than to blame yourself or others for what happens. Also detaching yourself from emotions, from not sort of being in denial of what's happening to you, but detaching yourself from the pain from those emotions. Emotions are just a signal. Sometimes people after a breakup, they find themselves driven by those emotions, and their emotions take the lead. You are not your emotions. So find ways to take that distance. That's what we do in therapy. Talking therapy with my clients is like, I force them to detach. That's also why it's important for you to speak with people, not necessarily a therapist, but to speak with people, to get that distance, to get that detachment. Are you obsessed about, I need to get back with my ex? If only I wasn't like this. No, that's not the point. Take that step back. Also, another very important thing is to focus on here and now. Back in the days of Epictetus, they didn't talk about mindfulness, but they really, if you look at the text, they really emphasize on the fact of, be in the present moment. I think it's very easy to get drawn to what's going to happen in the future, what will happen to me, or dwell on the past. After breakup, what if I've done that? I should have, I could have. That's not productive. That's not helping you to feel better. So find ways to, enjoy the moment. Surround yourself with people who are positive, who would help you to go through that event, that phase in your life. And one step at a time. I'm not saying it's easy, but that's the only way. Acceptance, detachment, focusing on the here and now. If you need more help, if you need more support, let me know in the comment section. You have a few links. You can also like the video if you learned something today new and subscribe. That does help me a lot. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye. Power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer.